Here's a question that might sound strange at first. What if love isn't just a feeling, but a form of infrastructure? Not the kind you see in roads or bridges, but the kind that determines whether businesses thrive, whether economies hold together, whether entire economies expand or contract. I know that sounds abstract, but stick with me, because what we're about to explore might shift how you see wealth, leadership, and even your own relationships. Welcome to Awaken Minds. I'm Pamela Uzodima. Let's awaken something together. When most of us hear the word love, we think of romance, warmth, affection. But scripture paints a different picture. In 1 Corinthians 13, love is described through actions, not emotions. Patience, kindness, humility, selflessness. These aren't poetic virtues. They are relational technologies. They create predictability, safety, trust. And trust is what allows human beings to cooperate at scale. Then there's 1 John 4 verse 8. God is love. If God, the architect of reality, is love, then love isn't soft. It's foundational. It's not sentimentality. It's the operating system of a flourishing world. Biblical love means this: choosing someone else's good, even when it costs you something. And that's choice. It doesn't just change relationships, it changes systems. Let's make this tangible. Philippians 2 verse 4 says, "Look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others." That's empathy. And empathy isn't weak, it's strategic. Think about how economies actually work. Businesses exist because someone understood a need and met it. Customers pay because someone cared enough to solve a problem. Every transaction is built on a bridge of trust. Now here's where it gets interesting. Empathy reduces friction. When people trust each other, they don't need expensive enforcement mechanisms. Contracts get honored, partnerships last longer, innovation accelerates because people feel safe to experiment. Investment flows in, but where empathy is absent, corruption rises, fear becomes the default, capital leaves, progress stalls. Love, expressed as empathy, doesn't just make life nicer, it makes economics function. It lowers the cost of doing business. It turns strangers into collaborators, and collaboration is how wealth is created. Let me show you something remarkable. In Acts 2 and 4, the early followers of Jesus did something unusual. They pooled resources. Those with surplus sold land and possessions. Needs were met across the community. The text says, there was no needy person among them. Think about that. Not through taxation, not through coercion, through voluntary, love-driven redistribution. And here's what happened next. The community grew rapidly. They enjoyed the favor of all the people. Love didn't shrink the economy, it stabilized it. When people's basic needs are met, they don't just survive, they contribute, they create, they build, they innovate. Even the Old Testament reflects this. The Jubilee laws in Leviticus mandated debt forgiveness and land restoration every 50 years. Why? To prevent permanent poverty traps. Love wasn't a feeling layered on top of the economy. It was woven into the design, not as charity, as structural wisdom. Here's the paradox we need to sit with. Selfishness feels powerful in the moment. It delivers quick wins, but over time, it corrodes the system. Love looks costly upfront. It requires sacrifice, patience, restraint, but it sustains systems across generations. Selfish economies extract until there's nothing left. Loving economies multiply value over time. When leaders genuinely love their people, corruption loses its appeal. Resources get stewarded, not hoarded. Policies serve the many, not the few. When organizations operate from love, employees feel psychologically safe. Creativity flourishes, retention improves, output increases. Modern economists call this social capital. Scripture called it love 2,000 years ago. Same truth, different language. John 3:16 reveals something profound. God so loved the world that he gave. Love gives, and giving creates circulation. An economy dies when circulation stops. Money must flow, ideas must spread, opportunity must reach new hands. Love is what keeps value moving through a system. When people feel seen, valued, and protected, they don't hoard. They contribute, they invest in others, they take risks that create new possibilities. Human potential is the ultimate renewable resource, and love is what unlocks it. So let's come back to the question. What is love? It's not just a warm feeling. It's a commitment to another person's flourishing. It's empathy that moves your hands, not just your heart. It's the invisible force that holds systems together. It's what turns scarcity into abundance, not through magic, but through trust. When love disappears from a nation, corruption rushes in to fill the void. When love disappears from an organization, decline begins quietly, then all at once. But when love governs both hearts and structures, wealth becomes sustainable, communities become resilient, prosperity becomes shared. So maybe the question isn't, why should we care about love? Maybe the real question is, what would your family, your workplace, your leadership, your nation look like if you treated love not just as a luxury, but as the most practical thing you could build with? Sit with that and let your mind awaken. I'm Pamela Uzodima. This is Awaken Mind. See you in the next conversation.